Welcome to United Consciousness, where one consciousness, one being, is more than just a belief. It's a movement, a global initiative that unites us all in the pursuit of peace, spiritual wisdom, and universal happiness. It's a global mission that's touching life across continents. If you have ever felt the need for connection, spiritual guidance, or just a sense of belonging, you are in the right place. Welcome to United Consciousness. United Consciousness is not just an organization. It's a living, breathing community dedicated to enhance the holistic well-being of over 3 lakh individuals worldwide. Our mission is simple yet profound. One consciousness, one being. We believe that by connecting with our higher selves and each other, we can live lives filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Together, we are building a global community that shares this vision, helping each other unlock our full potential. With the presence in over 100 countries, including Switzerland, Canada, Australia, Japan, etc., United Consciousness is here to help you thrive in this complex world. So why wait? Join us on this transformative journey. Let's create a world where peace and happiness are not just a distant ideal, but a tangible reality we can all experience here and now.
Namaste. On behalf of United Consciousness, United Global Peace Foundation, United Global Youth, I, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, welcome all of you and would extend greetings of Navratri to all of the people over here. This amazing panel discussion is hosted by our dear friend, eminent scholar, teacher, and a researcher into ancient Indian wisdom, Dr. Ashish Pandey. With the introduction, may I welcome Shri Ashish Pandey to moderate the discussion and take it further. May I request for his introduction.
With deep respect, I present to you Dr. Ashish Pandey. He is professor with Sailesh J. Mehta School of Management, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai, where he teaches courses related to organization development, human resource management, self-management, and leadership. Dr. Pandey has delivered more than 100 consulting and long-term training projects for the organization and leadership development across industries and for institutions of higher education in last 20 years. He has published more than 50 research articles in the field of yoga and positive psychology, spirituality at workplace, mindfulness, business and society interface, shared leadership and responsible leadership in globally reputed journals including Journal of Management, Journal of Business Ethics, Personal Review, etc. He has co-edited the volume on Indigenous Indian Management published by Palgrave Macmillan. His research is recognized with awards and fellowship at forums held at Indian Academy of Management, Academy of Management USA, Flowers Center of Case Western University, Indian Institute of Science, etc. He is a co-founder of www.dharmwiki.org and www.panchakoshawellbeing.in. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Ashish Pandey.
Namaste. Thanks very much, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, for this wonderful initiative of United Consciousness, and really, and welcome all the panelists. This is very eminent panel which we are blessed today. The scholars whom and the practitioners whom we are going to listen today. are the people who have led the field, who have led a very committed life for their field of knowledge, for their the field of craft, expertise, and scholarship. So I'll request the tech team to play the introduction of the eminent panelist, and then we will start the introduction, and then we'll start the conversation. I think there is some time in the introduction of the panel. So I'll request the tech team to hold on for a few moments. I will introduce the United Consciousness for the ancient wisdom in a while. I'm also going to share that at the end of the panel discussion, so that those who wish to participate in other activities and be benefited with this wonderful work of United Consciousness. So, for all the audience who are not familiar, the United Council for the Ancient Wisdom is a groundbreaking initiative dedicated to bringing ancient wisdom to a modern corporate world. Formed after the National HR Conference on Ancient Wisdom, this council aims to reinvent corporate governance and administrative practices by incorporating insights from ancient scripture. The council explores ideas, philosophies, and systems from the past to identify relevant concepts that can be applied today. uh, United Consciousness for Ancient Wisdom also considers introducing formal courses on ancient wisdom for future managers and leaders by merging traditional wisdom with modern practices. Council envisions a harmonious and sustainable approach to corporate governance, creating a positive impact in organizations and society. I'll invite all the attendees to just look around in their room, wherever, or the outside, wherever they are. Can they find even one thing other than the air which is not being created, which is not being manufactured, which is not being produced by a business organization? So business organizations and non-business organizations all are very much integrated in our life experience. And the United Consciousness is doing a great job in in bringing spirituality in all the forms of organization, and particularly business organizations. Through the in their work, they work closely with the leaders of the of these organizations to realize the great vision, which is about revolutionizing the corporate world by infusing ancient wisdom into the modern practices. And in this way, they wish to bring the positive change, harmony, and sustainability to the organizations as well as in the world. They are inspired with the vision of future where ancient wisdom and modern business seamlessly coexist, creating a positive impact on organizations and society through fresh perspective, deep understanding, and integrity. These are so deep and inspiring vision and mission for which United Consciousness is working. In fact, uh, we can just elaborate the vision and mission of the organization for this whole session, and then we can get the amazing insights. We have today the panelists who have lived these values in their career, and they are infusing these things in their organizations. As Jayaramanji is leading a yoga institution, who is a great thought leader, Sanskrit scholar, and a yoga scholar. Other than his scholarship, he has been a great practitioner of yoga as well. Lieutenant General Neeraj, who is leading action-packed life and implemented some of the great wisdom in their work, in their life, in their career, and in that process, they are influenced. They are. He is. He is one of the pillars whom we all respect for protecting this country, and through his acharan, he is inspiring hundreds and thousands of his team members every day. Dr. Mara Kapadia has lived a very committed and scholarly life for for her work to bring ancient wisdom in the corporate world. So she was leading the corporate function, HR function, for many years in reputed organizations. She brought Indian ancient wisdom in the emotional intelligence field, and she has made a great contribution in popularizing Ayurvedic wisdom for not only the physical health but also mental health. I know I have missed out many wonderful things which panelists
Uh, Their
have
digital
accomplished.
introduction is ready. Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm sure I must have missed out many wonderful things which our panelists have done in their career. So in order to do the real justice, our team has prepared a digital introduction as well. So I'll request the team to play that, and then we'll start the conversation.
We are honored to welcome Lieutenant General Neeraj Varshney, a distinguished leader and visionary of the Indian Army. He currently serves as the Commandant of the Military College of Electronics and Mechanical Engineering, Secunderabad, and the 75th Colonel Commandant of the Corps of EME, steering the Corps into a future of technological excellence. A first-generation Army officer and an alumnus of NDA and DSSC, Lieutenant General Varshney combines intellectual brilliance with operational grit, holding 5 master's degrees across finance, technology, strategic management, defense studies, and social sciences. His illustrious career spanned commanding roles during the Kargil War, logistic leaderships along the LOC, and strategic appointments including Brigadier in charge of space-based technical intelligence at DIA. A reputed academic and global defense representative, he continues to emphasize ethical leadership, discipline, and technology-driven modernization in AI, cyber, and quantum domains. Lieutenant General Varshney's life epitomized vision, integrity, and dedication to nation building. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Lieutenant General Neeraj Varshney. We are privileged to welcome Dr. Jayaraman Mahadevan, PhD, a distinguished scholar and spiritual academician whose life embodies the confluence of tradition and modern research. He currently serves as the Professor and Dean Division of Yoga and Spirituality at S-VYASA deemed University, where his visions integrates deep scriptural wisdom with innovative pedagogy. A PhD in Sanskrit from the University of Madras and a product of traditional Gurukula education in Vedas, Vedanta, and Yoga Shastra, Dr. Jayaraman brings unparalleled authenticity to his work. He has previously served as the Director of Research Department at Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Chennai, and Director of Textual Research in Yoga at Indic Academy, where he pioneered research in the textual aspects of yoga. With 23 books and 20 peer-reviewed articles, his scholarship spans editing, translations, and innovative work such as Yogasya Bhasha and Yoga Vaishyaratni, a highly sought-after workshop leader on Tantra Yukti. His expertise has been recognized nationally, serving as a prestigious board such as the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, CSIR, and Kalakshetra Foundation Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Dr. Mahadevan's persona radiates humility, depth, and dedication, making him a true torch-bearer of India's yogic and Sanskrit tradition. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Jayaraman Mahadevan. Warmly welcome Professor Mala Kapadia, a distinguished scholar, educator, and thought leader whose life's work bridges the timeless wisdom of India with modern pathways to well-being and leadership. Currently serving as the Director of the Center for Indigenous Knowledge System at Anaadi Foundation and Principal Investigator for an MOE research project on well-being and happiness based on Ayurveda. She continues to inspire with a deep-rooted commitment to holistic living and planetary flourishing. honored in 2023 by Grateful to Gurus as a guiding light for youth in ancient wisdom. Professor Kapadia also contributes as an advisory council member at Chanakya University. Her illustrious career spans global academia, leadership roles in S-VYASA and Rishihood University, and path-breaking programs like Ayurmanasa and Ayurveda Conservation. A prolific speaker and curator of indigenous psychology and sustainability, she embodies grace, clarity, and compassion, empowering individuals and institutions alike to live with wisdom, balance, and purpose. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Professor Mala Kapadia.
Great job. The team, I can sense, I can see the justice being done with the introduction of all these wonderful speakers. So Vikranji, should we start the conversation?
All yours.
Okay, so thanks very much. I would like to start with the Lieutenant General Neeraj Varshney. You have your action-packed life has been inspiration to so many. We would like to hear from you how the ancient Vedic wisdom would have helped you in maintaining or enhancing your well-being and kind of maintaining your inspired attitude life.
Good morning to the audience. I'm very thankful to Dr. Vikrant Tomar for inviting me for this panel discussion. And it's wonderful to be amongst this noted panel, everybody who's an expert in his or her field. And I think IIT Mumbai needs to be complimented that they are thinking about this ancient wisdom which is available in our scriptures to teach the students at this level. Usually this wisdom comes slightly towards your middle age in life. I mean, if I were to take my personal example, my father gifted me Bhagavad Gita when I turned 18, but I never read it. It was just lying on the bookshelf. And I think somewhere when I became a colonel in the army and I had done a fair bit of 20 years of service, that I shifted towards these scriptures and I realized the wealth of wisdom which lies here. In practical terms, if I were to tell you, I think our Upanishads and our scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita are not religious texts. They are largely philosophical texts, and they give you a foundation and base to lead a good, fruitful life, which is complete in all terms. I think we often hear this shloka, which is the most, repeated shloka of Karmanya Vadikaraste, Ma Faleshu Kadachana, Ma Karfal Hetur Bhurma Te Sango Astva Akarmani. I think if this one shloka you can understand as a student and as a working person in your life, 90% of your life's problems are over. And I'll give you personal examples from my personal life. What this shloka is saying in very simple terms is that your job or my job is to do my karma or my duty. The fruits of that karma are not in my hand, and neither should I get influenced by those fruits nor get addicted to those fruits. If I have appeared for an IIT JEE exam, my job is to study well and give my best shot to that exam. Now the examiner is the one who is going to decide the fruits of what I have done. Sometimes those fruits may come immediately to me. Sometimes they take more effort and work. But you should not stop doing your job or your duty. As you're a student, because I also handle so many officers whom I've taught at training establishments or where I'm commanding, the simple dictum which as a student stays with you, which you should follow, is that your job is to study well, your job is to eat well, your job is to play well, and your job is to sleep well. If these four fundamental things you are doing sincerely, you will get the best when the time comes. The second aspect is if you go to Chandogya Upanishad and read the concept of Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. If you look at the universe is inside you. And what is the universe? It is composed of people like you. So everything which you are seeking outside generally resides inside you only. But because we are not wise enough at a young age, we keep seeking that validation and satisfaction from outside. The greatest of the philosophers or people or thinkers or geniuses in any field, if you see and you connect the scientific system of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they are at the top of that food chain where they are self-actualized people. Self-actualized people generally don't bother about the world. They are so much into what they are doing generally, and they are experts at what they do, that they keep honing their craft, their skill, whether it was Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who started the space program for this country, whether it was Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, who started the nuclear program for this country, whether it was Dr. Kurian, who started the milk revolution for this country. You will find that you will find these individuals in every stream of life, in every part, who just concentrate on what comes best to them. We give examples of Field Marshal Cariappa and Field Marshal Manekshaw. I mean, they are icons who did what was right, which they felt, and they were not doing it for name or fame. They were doing it because they enjoyed the work which they were doing. It is also said in Bhagavad Gita, I think in chapter 4 somewhere, where it says, Nahi pavitramahi vidyate, where there is nothing more sacred than learning actually. And if you have the power of knowledge, you can transcend any tough situation in life. And before I just conclude and give the other panelists a chance, I want to tell you another thing, which I have learned from our scriptures, that we talk about Sukh and Dukh. Sukh and Dukh are just like a coin. Those of you who have seen the movie Sholay, the Amitabh Bachchan has a coin in his hand which he tosses. And the coin on both sides has the same thing. Whereas in real life, Sukh and Dukh are two sides of the same coin. And they both give the same feeling. Sukh आता हुआ अच्छा लगता है, जाता हुआ खराब लगता है. और दुख आता हुआ खराब लगता है, जब जाता है तो सुख की अनुभूति दे देता है. तो ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, दुख आपके जीवन में आएंगे. It is the reality of life that nobody is there who is not unhappy at some point in life. You will go through bad moments in life, bad relationships, bad bosses, bad jobs, so they are part of your life. But through that, if you just keep following the wisdom of our scriptures, what they say, they also teach you patience. And a lot of patience is required in navigating this life, because this life is not 2 days, 3 days. I mean, you are youngsters between 18 to 20 years of age. And if you were to look at, there's a long runway ahead of you. 50 years in normal course in today's India, but by the time you grow old, the science is advancing so much that you will have probably 90 years of life, which will become the normal, the new normal, with science, having invented so many other things. So if you have a 70-year long runway of life, there is no way that you'll not face adverse situations. There is no way that you'll not be elated at some moments. But through all of that, you have to remember that you have to keep doing your job sincerely, and the fruits will come sooner or later of those. Sometimes a tree plants, the hybrid model of a tree gives you fruit after 2 years. And sometimes there are oak trees and big trees who take 30, 40 years before they give fruit. And when they give fruit, it is so much that you can't eat it. Okay. That's all I have to say. After that, as the discussion goes forward, I'll contribute. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Lieutenant General Varshney. You have shared the eternal wisdom which Dr. Mala will anyway will share. Ahar, Vihar, Achar, Vichar. That is the only thing which are in our control. You carry on with the right equilibrium on these things, and then life will happen to you. You will come across great things. It reminds me of the conversations which I generally have with the parents who come to IIT Bombay to drop their kids. And they are generally anxious in the beginning. What is the best branch? What is the best minor subjects? What are the workshop they should attend, etc. And in last 4 or 5 years, I'm teaching to these first year kids, and I say that uh, uh, just what you have exactly said, that you take care of your food, sleep, and attend the classes. That's it. You be there and happily well fed and well slept. Everything else will happen to you. So thanks very much for sharing. I move on to Dr. Jayaraman ji. Jayaraman ji represents amazing combination of the Gurukul education, traditionally trained in the traditional way, and also very well familiar and trained in the modern, uh, mostly Western oriented structure. And now he is leading a research function in an amazing university, which is kind of a beacon of light for the yoga research, for the Ayurveda research, not only in this country, but to the world. We all look up to S-VYASA, the Vedic, and the university, which Ramanji is kind of one of the leaders. I have been inspired and informed greatly by Jayaramanji's work. Of course, one is on the Tantri Yukti, and also his ability to distinguish and bring the distinction in some of the yogic concepts. People are only familiar to some of the terms like pranayam, samadhi, or yoga itself, or chit. A little bit of familiarization of all this, but his contribution is to identify some very profound constructs like Prayatna Shathilya. What is the meaning of the Prayatna Shathilya and how it is related to the practice? Ishwar Pranidhan. What is the exact meaning of that? So, as a scholar, he has done this great service for the social sciences and psychology field by bringing up these distinctions of bringing the nuances of these concepts. This is a great service I'm telling ladies and gentlemen, because these are the words which are untranslatable. We cannot find exact English words for this, and we do at time disservice by reducing these terms to available English terms. I don't have any grudge against English. I am speaking in English. Most of my papers and writings are in English, but we need to be aware that uh, 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 every culture has its own language. Every tradition, knowledge tradition, has its own language, and we need to do justice to that. And he has brought that justice. He has done this great service by identifying some of these terms and explaining it for the people like us who are though Indian but trained in the Western system. So I'll request Jayaramanji to elaborate some of those ideas which he think will be very helpful for the scholars as well as the yoga practitioners to be mindful about. Thanks very much. Looking forward to hearing to.
Thank you, Professor Ashish ji, for that nice words. And it is indeed a very esteemed panel where I have a good opportunity to share some of my thoughts. It is indeed that when you said that I have clarified the terms like Prayatna Shaitilya, Ishvara Pranidhana, which are central to Yoga Shastra, I would like to say that nothing belongs to my, it's none, means it's not my contribution. It's rather that we have a very long yoga parampara. So that is, for example, we have such a rich tradition that we have that, for example, for Yoga Sutra itself, which is considered the central literature of Yoga Shastra, defining literature, though it is not the first text of yoga. So it's one of the defining texts which kind of brings together all the Upanishadic wisdom. For that itself, a 2000-year commentary literature, unbroken commentary literature is available. So it is not that in many, for example, post-colonial thinking is that, or rather, even in the colonial period, there was people were kind of discovering things, or rather, kind of as if bringing to the world something which is bringing to the world anew. So something which is not like that. We have yoga is a living tradition for many centuries, and in my work where I do comparative study of the existing commentaries, I only bring to light what are all the inputs that are already available and bringing it to the table. As most of the even in the Indian knowledge system, most of the texts are studied in English, and that is, of course, that's the situation, that's the current scenario. But at the same time, we have to go to the traditional wisdom and kind of bring those ideas into the current world. You mentioned about the word Prayatna Shaitilya, which is a prerequisite for asana. Everyone practices asana for the mind, body, wellness. Asana is done. And one of the prerequisites for asana is Prayatna Shaitilya. The general translation to the term is Prayatna is effort, Shaitilya is relaxation. So to attain success in asana, relax the effort. So on a general kind of notion when we see, so we only say to achieve success, intensify effort. Put the effort day in and day out. Only then you will succeed. But whereas it is Patanjali Maharshi says, you relax or kind of relax the effort or slacken the effort. So when people just look at the word translation and just go by the dictionary, then what happens is whatever comes to their mind, that is being interpreted. For example, one of the popular editions say that initially doing any physical activity will be strenuous. As you practice, you will ease into the practice. For example, jogging for 5 miles a day. So initially it will be a painful thing. As you do, then there will be slackening of effort. Unfortunate, and this has been published and disseminated worldwide. And that is read as one of the defining techniques to make asana comfortable. So today doing Padmasana is difficult for me. How do I ease into Padmasana? Every day do Padmasana. Do we need Patanjali Maharshi to tell that? So we ourselves, based on experience, will know that any physical activity, any endeavor will be there. There will be some resistance initially, and then later we overcome the resistance and we ease into it. For this, Patanjali Maharshi does not is not required kind of to present this idea. But when we get into the commentary literature, traditional Samskrita commentary literature, without without the breaking of there is certain grammatical framework involved in this also. See, there is a Prayatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapatibhyam Asanam Stiram Sukham Bhavati. So it's given in an instrumental case. For making asana comfortable and firm, use Prayatna Shaitilya. When we see go by the first interpretation, as you do your practice, you will ease into the practice. Prayatna Shaithilya does not bring in an instrumentality. It just kind of an experience into the practice. Whereas the vibhakti, the grammar is there. It says that is a technique by which asana becomes firm and comfortable. So our traditional commentators, who are not only people of the linguistic and philosophical background, they are also practitioners. They understand this framework and then say how slackening of effort can be instrumental in making your asana firm and comfortable. There are many layers of interpretations. I'm just giving only one example and then I will stop with my initial thing. So the point is, slacken the effort before commencing the practice of asana. So, for example, my yoga studio is at the fourth floor, and then the lift is not working. And then I am running to my yoga studio in the fourth floor. Immediately, I am asked to stand in one leg vrikshasana. Will my asana be sthira and sukha? I will be tottering. So, Patanjali Maharshi says that first, before commencing any asana, slacken any kind of intense activity. Let the body be in some kind of a poise, relax all the strenuous activity before, and then commence asana, then there will be sthira and sukha. So, by this interpretation, so this is from Vijnana Bhikshu's commentary, 15th century commentary that we have, very practical. So, hence, one notion that clouds our mind is anything that is in Sanskrit, anything that is descriptive, it's only philosophical. There is nothing practical or kind of to derive from it. So Samskrita, the textual study, etc., is needed only from a point of view of philosophical inputs, not that way. Even such practical, intricate inputs are available. As you rightly mentioned, sir, Ashish ji, that certain misconceptions can be removed and also certain intricate details can also be brought in by that practical wisdom from the commentary literature. And that is what I am endeavoring to do. Because yoga programs these days are 100 hours, 200 hours. I finish and I become an yoga instructor, I start teaching. So there needs to be some time to sit and reflect and bring in these inputs. So that's the work I'm doing. And from a wellness perspective also, we should not run into grabbing the ideas. Rather, we have to sit, reflect, and then add in these ideas so that the Indian perspective of wellness could be understood even more authentically and systematically.
Great. So we look forward listening to you more about the Indian perspective of well-being in the next round. I come to Malaji, and Malaji, you have familiarized the notion of the Ayurveda and its relevance for the not only the physical health but mental health to thousands of people, and I am one of them. For the audience, I'm happy to share that I knew Malaji for so many years, and then when she conducted a session, we got the opportunity to work with the multinational food company, and that's where she taught the notion of food from the Ayurvedic perspective. That was kind of a bold decision, and then actually participants like it because it provided a different perspective. What has happened in that room, with that organization, I wish this to happen to all the corporate houses of the food companies of the world. And I'm sure means some of the people who are young students, some of them who are present here on this forum, they may take a clue. I would like to request you to share your idea about the well-being from the perspective of the Ayurveda, particularly for the younger population who are either in their college or in the first early years of their career. So, looking forward hearing from you.
Dhanyavad, Ashish. And I'm so happy you still remember it after so many years. So it must have been really touched your heart, right? If it was only cognitive touching, then we forget after a training program. And I'll go back to Neeraj's synonym, that simile that he used of a coin. And what Jayaraman talked about yoga. So yoga and Ayurveda, I've realized, are two sides of the same coin. So when we talk of wellness, right, because unless your body and mind are fit to get into yoga, and that's where Ayurveda plays a major role. Because if I'm not practicing Ayurveda and then I want to practice yoga, I'll find it very challenging. So somewhere Ayurveda becomes like prepares your body and mind both. And this is where if it's a Veda of Ayu, the way Ayu is defined in Ayurveda itself is very unique. Again, like Jayaraman ji said, translations are very limiting when we put one word in English. So Ayu is, translated as life, or knowledge of life or Veda of life. But in Ayurveda, Ayu is combination of Sharira, Indriya, Manas, Atma. And therefore it fits very well with body, mind and consciousness. But between body and mind is Indriya. And again, I will not use the English word senses for Indriya, because Indriya in Sanskrit is a much deeper, much profound concept than just senses. But we use the word senses as a loose translation, right, to understand. So Ayurveda says, who are we, right? I mean, we are living a life. And what is our life? So our life is a combination of Sharir, Manas, Indriya, Manas, and Atma. Because it is the Atma ultimately who wants to experience life. Now, Atma cannot experience life on its own. So it takes help of Manas. Now, Manas cannot experience anything unless there are Indriyas through which Manas connects with the outer world. So in Ayurveda, we have 5 Karmendriya, 5 Jnanendriya. Manas is called the 11th Indriya. In the example of food that you were sharing, so let's say my mind is craving for a certain food, and all the youngsters will identify that all of us have our cravings, right? Our manas wants to go outward. That's the nature of manas. So the manas through indriyas is getting attracted to a certain food that I love. What happens then? Right? So there can be 3 things that indriya can do. Indriya can either do ati yoga, so I overeat. Indriya can do mithya yoga. So I eat wrong combinations of food. Like one of the most popular we see at McDonald's is French fries, burger, and strawberry milkshake. I mean, this is the favorite of many youngsters, right? And in Ayurveda, we call it Viruddha Ahara. Why Viruddha? Because it is very difficult to digest these 3 things when eaten together. Or a Coke and a pizza. I mean, these are very popular choices. So I'm giving these examples. But a pizza and a Coke together is a harakiri for our digestion or gut health. And therefore, what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, with whom to eat is all given in Ayurveda. So how do you connect our manas through indriya with our body and the outer world? That becomes a basis of well-being and happiness in Ayurveda. And therefore, Ayurveda says we can be leading 4 kinds of life. Hita Ayu, which is a beneficial life, which is anything is hitakari to me and hitakari to the world, not just me, but also to the universe, because the planetary well-being or flourishing and my well-being or flourishing is a continuum. Why is it continuum? Because Ayurveda has some very unique principles that explain who we are. I mean, one of the major crises that we see in ecology today is because we look at environment as different than us. We are looking at climate change and environment as different than us. While Ayurveda helps us to understand that Pinde te Brahmande, macrocosm and microcosm is the one. And therefore, what we do, what we think, what we eat, when we sleep, so there is dinacharya, there is ratricharya, and then there is rutucharya. How do you live your day? When do you wake up? To how do you wind up in the evening at sunset? When do you sleep? And how do you sleep? That quality of sleep is extremely well explained in Ayurveda, which unfortunately today's youth is not exposed to. And then, of course, Ritucharya, how do you change your lifestyle, your diet, even the clothes you wear with seasons? So these become the basic foundation of Ayurveda. And I personally feel that every school we must share these foundations. Earlier, we all had grandmothers at home. So our first Vaidya or our first exposure to Ayurveda was through our grandmothers. They knew how to live life, right? Unfortunately, now we have delegated this to the pharmaceutical industry that says that, oh, you don't sleep well, take melatonin tablet. Rather than understanding what do I do during the day and before sleeping, which will give me a good sleep. So Ayurveda holds our everyday well-being. So the first life is Hita Ayu, which is Hitakar to me. And of course, the opposite is Ahita Ayu, which is illness, climate change, diseases, social disharmony. Then there is Sukha Ayu. So unless I'm leading Hita Ayu, I will not be able to lead Sukha Ayu. Because Sukha is not just happiness. Again, limitation of translation. Su is auspicious. I mean, that's the closest English word that I can think of. And Kha is the space. So all the spaces where we live has to be auspicious. So one, of course, we live in our body. We live in our manas. Because most of the time the mind is chattering and mind is telling us who we are and what should we do and how do you live. Then we live in a house, we live in a society, we live in a community, and then we live on a planet. So all these spaces need to be auspicious for us to be happy. Now imagine what profound definition of happiness and well-being is Ayurveda giving us. And therefore, Sukha, Hita Ayu leading to Sukha Ayu creates well-being and happiness at every stage in our life.
Great. Thanks very much, Malaji. As always, very practical and insightful. I will come to Lieutenant General Neeraj. I hope you must be aware that there is an enigmatic character in the minds of the Indians about the way training happens in Indian Army. Yes. So the people like us are always curious what happens there, what makes them to prepare so well. My familiarity with the armed forces professionals is in teaching some of the management courses. Sometime in IIM Ahmedabad and in MDI, I have seen when they come to the management courses, they bring some distinction in terms of their punctuality, their sincerity, their communication, their dignity and respect. That suggests that there is something special about the training in the Indian Army, which stays with them even after they leave their full time engagement. So, since you have been the student and the follower and the sadhak of the Indian wisdom and the technique, what are some of the things which you have explicitly or implicitly followed in the training and preparing them well during the program? And I'm sure some of those you also would have followed uh, to become what you have become so wonderful. So, can you share some of your insights about your experience of implementing these in training yourself and your people in army, which come
I
from the
think
ancient wisdom?
this is a very interesting question, Professor Ashish, which you put across actually. And in fact, I was thinking in my mind, going back to when I was 16 years old, the day I reported to the National Defense Academy at Khadagwasla near Pune. I was like any other normal child. Actually, I would sleep late, get up late, and the parents had to make you get up to go to school. And suddenly, then you find that you're thrown into the deep end. And that is where the training of the armed forces, nothing but what Dr. Jayaraman or Professor Kapadia has spoken about. And that yoga is nothing but discipline, actually. You could apply it on food, you can apply it on your mind, on your body, on anything. Okay. If you have to move further and achieve further, there has to be a modicum of yoga in your life or discipline in your life. And they make you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And 4 o'clock, when the day starts at 6:30, is your first parade, which is outdoors always. So outdoors are you're doing PT or you're running, you're doing drill, parade, something, or riding or swimming. So there is 1.5 hours or 2 hours of only physical exercise in the morning. And that sets the tone for the day. After that, you have a very healthy breakfast. And by the time you reach your classroom, actually, half of you are sleepy. Okay. So, and then in the afternoon, again, after the classes at 1:30, is a lot of physical activity. Okay. And towards the evening, an hour of study period, and you sleep. Now, these routines are very easy to make. When we were children, we would make on sheet of paper and paste it in front of our table. That this is my timetable. But the real life problem comes in following that timetable and following it religiously. And then when you follow it religiously, it becomes yoga. Because the results of anything which you do will not come overnight, as I was saying and telling earlier. They will come after consistently following every day the same routine. So in simple terms, in the armed forces, the process is the king. There is a very simple process. You have to follow that simple process day in, day out. And generally, this process is followed by every training institution of the Indian Army and the world armies. So that is one bit. Second is the transformation which happens gradually and incrementally. आप लोग जो आज मुझे देख रहे हो वो 40 साल की नौकरी और 4 साल की ट्रेनिंग 44 इयर्स का प्रोडक्ट देख रहे हैं आप. जब मैं 22 साल का था तो मैं भी शायद आप लोगों के जैसा ही था. I had the same feelings, same everything. So you will see, and each one of us transforms during our period of life and growth. Wisdom adds on to it. Experiences add on to it. So our training is, second element of training is, it's a very holistic training. Okay. So we take care of manasa, vacha, and karmana. All three segments of the indriyas, if you were to call it, they are exercised on a daily basis. And anything like a muscle, if you don't exercise, it will atrophy. It will waste away. You don't use your mind, it will become rusted. You don't use your body, some muscles will die of disuse. So till the time you keep using everything and in an incremental process every day, then you see the results which come out of it. Whether it is Olympic champions, whether it is thinkers, whether it is great generals, it is a process which throws up those systems. Okay. So I think the key to our entire system is discipline. First, it is enforced. And it is enforced by only two elements with which every animal or human being responds pain and pleasure. There's no other third feeling. So when you are looking at enforcing discipline, the academies enforce it with a lot of pain. If you break a rule, there is a punishment. And that punishment is if I'm 5 minutes late for a class or a place, it amounts to a 5-kilometer run with packs on a Sunday afternoon. So now the choice is with the individual. You want to spoil your Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, sleep, or be in time. Now that gradually is enforced day in, day out, and then it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, now that is where you have reached the state of consciousness and yoga. कि अब आप कभी भी आप टाइम दो आप लेट होगे ही नहीं, वो ऑटोमेटिक आता है. So when you look at this, the other element is, if our scriptures which also say yoga कर्मसु कौशलम, कुशलता से किया गया कर्म ही योग है. आप anything which you put your heart and soul into it, that becomes yoga. And I'll give again a personal example. It was my first course in the Indian Army, and I was just 21 years old. And at that age, everybody, we were in Baroda, MS University, the Garba season was on. So you have all the pretty girls at that time around you. So you're not concentrating on your studies as much as, finding a nice girl to talk to. And that course, I got a Bravo grading, a B grading. Okay, I missed out my A grading by a few marks. Somewhere down the line, you realized that I myself realized that I had not given my best shot. Now, I did not want in future in my life that I should regret some moment that, yeah, I could have done better. The capability was there inside me. So any activity which you do, the second element is that give it your best shot. Do your hard work to the maximum, whatever is your potential, and then leave the results again to someone else. He will give the results. 99% in life, you will get the just desserts. You will get the right amount of, results if the effort has been put in rightly. If you do exercise every day, 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock, you just make a routine. And you have to do those 40 minutes of yoga asanas or any exercise. You will find that after an year, the results will start coming in. Because real life is nothing but compounding. A tree compounds, it grows. Knowledge grows. Everyday knowledge, you keep adding layer by layer, small bits, and it becomes a huge tree of knowledge. You look at wealth, it compounds. So initial period is the tough period of life, of any activity when you start. The training period of ours in the army is the toughest period. But after that, the outcome which comes is a standardized outcome. And that standardized outcome is further honed upon, and every day people are working on it and becomes a great product when the outside world sees it. So that is how our systems work. And I think discipline is the key. Whether you're looking at food discipline, you're looking at health discipline, you're looking at your mind's discipline, that the process has to be there. When you want to analyze a problem, you go through an analytical thinking process. Then you come to an outcome. Decision making is an analytical, logical thinking process. Same way, a physical health is a process. So please follow the process. That is the message which I would like to give. Standardize the process. Follow that process. The process will have difficulties, and make the process a little difficult if you want the systems, so that default options of the brain work towards not leaving it in between, but carrying through with the difficult times. because that is what will give you the outcomes at the end. Because 99% of the time, like while I was training in the first 6 months, you felt like running away. You said, where have you come? सुबह 4 बजे उठा देते हैं और 11 बजे आप जब सोते हो तो आपको दीन दुनिया की खबर नहीं होती, बस बिस्तर दिख रहा होता है. And at some stage, while standing, you are sleeping. I mean, that is like the ultimate goal of human life is moksha or nirvana. And moksha and nirvana is nothing but the time when your mind is zero thoughts. You try it in your life, you rarely have zero thought in your mind. Only when you are in deep slumber, there is zero thought in your mind. Or you are in deep meditation. So all of these things have been devised to take you into that moment where there is nothing in your mind. There's no consciousness. And you are one with whatever you may call the universe, the supreme being, everything. And that is where, whether you look at Greek philosophy, you look at the Romans, you look at our own Vedic wisdom, they all converge to a single point, whether it is Seneca, whether it is Marcus Aurelius, whether it is our Gurukul system of the scriptures, they all lead to one ultimate realization and goal. That little is less, discipline is best, and if you follow this, you'll have a great life.
Great.
Don't look at others, what the others are doing.
Lovely. Thanks very much. So this brings me to this observation, Jayaramanji, when you have several places mentioned about yoga is not only on the mats. It is beyond that. And when Lieutenant General Varshney was talking about yoga karmashu kaushalam, living your life in a way which becomes kind of a yoga in itself. What yogic, as a yoga scholar, you would like to point out, which suggests these things, that it is not only on the mats, it is like holistic, all pervasive. We would like to hear some of the interesting concepts in that regard.
Yes, Ashish, that is before going into the response to your question. As Lieutenant General Neeraj ji was speaking about the army discipline, I was reminded about my stay in Gurukula for 7 years.
Wow.
So the same waking up at 4:30, the same disciplining, and all those activities of strenuous thing. That's in Sanskrit there is an expression, Gurukula Klishta. Gurukula Klishtaha is a terminology which is used. Oh, this person has been, he has undergone the hardships in Gurukula. Means he would be a better person. So that is the level of training in the same traditional Gurukula that we have, which incorporates, for example, when we speak about traditional education, we think that, oh, it is study of scriptures, Ramaha Ramu Ramaha, memorizing the words, its verbal forms, etc. While even Lieutenant General has mentioned about the Gurukula system in his thing, so Gurukula education involves training also. So, but one thing, one small difference between the army training and Gurukula training, as sir was speaking, that came to my mind is, while in Gurukula also there will be punishment, pain and pleasure but one different thing is, maybe it is there in the armed forces also, role model. We have the system of role model. The Acharya who is leading the Gurukula will be a role model. So how did we wake up at 4 o'clock? Our Acharya ji will walk singing very nice Vedic, the songs in patriotic songs, other songs about the gods and goddesses, and that's how he is already up. Achinoti cha shastrarthan acharya sthapayatyapi. So Gurukula has the role models inspiring the other students. So in this way, very much. So two perspectives. One is the Gurukula training and the army training have parallels at one level. And one significant input is role model based education is Gurukula education. It's not morning 9 to 12 or 9 to 5. So the teacher and the student live together. So in that way, imbibing of wisdom comes naturally. And the teacher is a father, considered as a father or the family of the guru becomes the family of the student. That way, imbibing the wisdom comes easier in the Gurukula tradition. Now, coming to your question, these are some observations when I listen to Lieutenant General Ji. So now coming about the yoga off the mat. Actually, the yoga on the mat is for yoga off the mat. So the point is that what we do on the mat is kind of bringing the mind to a less agitated state so that we can continue our life off the mat. It's not that we spend our life on the mat only. So continue our life off the mat in a less agitated, much more equipoised, much more balanced state of understanding ourselves. So the asanena rajo hatti. That's the quotation in Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Asana reduces rajas, the agitations, etc. And then pranayama again, dirgha sukshma, means the breath becomes long and subtle. Rather than the agitated, labored breathing, the prana settles down. When the prana settles down, it's very well known that the mind also settles down. Chale vate chalam chitta, chalam bhave. So that again infuses a sense of calmness, equipoise, and balance, the pranayama practice. And of course, dhyana helps us think that beyond also what is there in body, mind, senses, we are beyond that also. There is certain enduring entity within us. So hence, all this on the mat practices are for off the mat experiences. So that is point number one. Other than that, as already has been mentioned by Malaji and also yourself, Ahara, Vihara, Vyavahara also forms part of yoga. It's not that asana pranayama only is yoga. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So yoga will work only when the ahara, food, vihara, the real regular exercise and physical activities, and then yukta swapna, the right sleeping pattern, is maintained. So, and beyond that, yoga can be lived every moment of life also. Every life situation can be kind of faced with yoga. That's why Krishna also says, Yogasthaha Kuru Karmani. Be established in yoga and go about your activity. It is not that keep doing only asana pranayama. No. Establish yourself in yoga, that the equipoise that gives that is given by yoga, and then go about doing your activities. So what are all the preparations in every moment that we can do, which will naturally grant us the equipoise, the concepts of yama and niyama. I saw one of the very learned commentator comment in the comment section already. One learned listener has already put about that. Yamas and niyamas are there: ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. When we speak about ahimsa, we only kind of associate with our revered father of the nation, Gandhiji. Oh, ahimsa is to be practiced only for liberating the country, for freedom. No, ahimsa is for our own well-being. So again, kayena, vacha, manasa, we have to reduce our aggressive, ferocious behavior. So when that is reduced, then all other things fall in place. Vyasa, in his commentary, he says, Yatha gajapade anyani padani pathagamina. See, if there is a footprint of an elephant, inside that footprint, all other animals, all other beings' footprint also is kind of incorporated. In the same way, you may have ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, parigraha, shaucha, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya. All these host of practices are there. All these host of practices will be covered in the elephant footprint called ahimsa. If ahimsa is there, all other things are incorporated within that. And but one thing is, in following ahimsa also, we should exercise some discretion, as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would put, hiss, don't bite. That principle we have to follow. For self-preservation, whatever we need to do, we need to do. But other than that, aggressive, ferocious behavior, verbally, physically, and mentally can be reduced. That is this is for every moment of life. When I respond to some emotional situation, when someone is insinuating something, am I responding just in a knee-jerk manner? Am I balancing myself before responding? Response we must give, but Am I giving it from a position of equipoise? Am I bringing in that sense of ahimsa? See, people can be disciplined not by kind of harsh reprimand. Nice wordings, appropriate, gently put wordings also will bring them to kind of disciplining. So, hence, if I say if one defining quality which can be remembered throughout, there is a principle called as smrityupasthana, which is in Buddhism also called as sati patthana. They say that, which is now popularly called as mindfulness. So, means this is smriti, remembering constantly that we have to respond based on ahimsa and also equipoise. That is smriti, constant memory should be there at the back of the mind. When that is there, then our responses will be yogastha responses. Then we will reduce the agitations, kleshas, and the knots, which are called as granthis. Someone abuses me, I abuse him back. Then it grows into a kind of vicious circle and becomes a strong knot. So we will not get into such knots. Whenever I see the person, immediately my acid in the stomach starts kind of secreting fast. No, these are all called as knots. So let us not get into these psychological knots by practicing things like ahimsa in the proper sense, understanding ahimsa in the proper sense, and then all other things will fall in place. So this is one such thought that I would like to share at this point of time. So this is one of the important off the mat yoga practice which is applicable for us in all the waking hours that we are. And when the waking hours are based on this, then the dream and deep sleep state will also be pleasurable. We have to see that Yoga Shastra classifies deep sleep also as a sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. It's not that all deep sleep is really kind of peaceful deep sleep. Sukham aham aswapsam nakinchid avedisham prasannam me manaha. When I wake up, how do I wake up? I slept well. I did not know anything. My mind currently is pleasant. This is a sattvic deep sleep. Dukkhamaham aswapsam. This is, I slept when we wake up. My mind is restless. My body is paining. This is a rajasic deep sleep. And there is tamasic deep sleep also, whereas gadham mudhoham aswapsam guruni me gatradi. I slept like a log. When I wake up, it is a numbness all around. I feel like a zombie. And then my body feels terribly heavy. So hence the point is, even deep sleep is influenced by our waking state. How can we make our waking state properly? Yogastha kuru karmani. With that principle, if we do, then all the three states will be a pleasurable state. That makes the quality of life improved, and that brings back to how our ancient wisdom presents a holistic picture of having a wellness-filled life.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. Uh, uh, when you were saying these words, I was reminded of some contemporary, very, very modern, very kind of recent developments in the field of functional medicine, in the biophotonic field, that is also like coming up in a significant way, which is talking about some of these things, these principles, and that makes me quite hopeful that the ancient wisdom will be understood by the modern mind, and then the science and the modern mind both will be जो जिनका दोनों का संस्कार हो जाएगा. That gives me a hope listening to the scholars like you. Coming to the Maharajis, I am sure it is beautifully kind of flowing. Neeraj talked about the routine, setting the process, following, and then established in the yoga and following that, and that is connected to not only the wakefulness and sleep, and now so it naturally flows into the Ayurveda, which integrates these lifestyle things and the life aspiration. We have a currently the life aspiration are some, and then the lifestyle is of some other kind, and then there is a distinction between individual life and that, and this is my life and the life. So Ayurveda has a great insights about having this holistic understanding about this is my life, dad, and the life. So probably you can share about these things in 2 minutes, and then we'll open the forum for the questions and answers.
Sure, Ashish. Exactly what you said was going in my mind while Neeraj ji and Jayaraman ji were talking. Because Dinacharya and Ratricharya is nothing else but processes. It's a SOP, right? Morning till night, how do you live? And why wake up at 4 o'clock? Whether you are in army or whether you are in Gurukulam, Brahma Muhurta is supposed to be the perfect time to wake up. And then Ayurveda explains it very well that the way our body is made up of Panch Mahabhuta, and Panch Mahabhuta of Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi, they get connected as Prakruti of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Right? So Vata is Akash and Vayu, Pitta is Agni and Jala, and Kapha is Jala and Prithvi. Now, all these Mahabhuta are also there, not only in our body, all the food that we eat, but it's also there in the environment, in the season. So the Brahma Muhurta time is called Vata time. So where not only the air is more fresh, but the download, if you want to download anything, this is the perfect time. And this is what the younger generation understand, right? That when is the speed good enough to download? So Brahma Muhurta is perfect time if you want any higher dimension download, when you want any divine download. And because there is Surya outside and there is Surya within us, if we are awake to welcome the Surya outside, then obviously our physical state and mental state of health is better, because then you are aligned with the environment. And as Neeraj ji rightly said, be outside, do exercise. And this is exactly what Ayurveda says, that after waking up, after completing your morning routine, do your Vyayama in the morning. And as you talked about the modern terminologies or modern science areas coming closer to Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, people have been talking of biomimicry, right? Now, Ayurveda, I see a very perfect example of biomimicry. Our rishis were also poets, and therefore, unfortunately, we missed out a lot of things as only poetry and not scientific. So, heart in Ayurveda is called Hriday Kamala. Right? So, it's not just poetics, but how anyone seeing a lotus flower would know that it blooms with sunrise and it closes the petals with sunset. So, this is exactly what our heart does. And physiologically, also, if you see, our heart resembles an inverted lotus. Now, unfortunately, if you look at our modern lifestyle, ideally, if you follow Ayurveda or if you understand biomimicry, by sunset, you should have withdrawn from the outer world. You should have had your dinner by sunset. And this is the time to get quieter, right? To calm down, to be with your family, to withdraw from your laptops and phones or televisions. Unfortunately, the modern lifestyle is such that the youth even goes to gym in the evening, right? Because that's the only time after work or after college you go to the gym. Now, the heart is wanting to calm down, withdraw from the outer world, and we are putting artificial pressure on the heart by going to the gym. Isn't that unfortunate? And then, as Jayaraman ji talked about the Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic Nidra, in Ayurveda, Nidra Devi, it's called a Devi, a goddess, and Nidra Devi is called Tamasic. But it is not the Sthula Tamas that Jairam ji was talking about. Nidra in Ayurveda as a Tamasic is a Sukshma Tamas, which allows you to sleep. And then your sleep becomes Sattvic. So that's the beauty. Because when you have withdrawn by sunset from the outer world, you have had your food. So the food now gets time to get digested, not just digested, but all that we have eaten through the morning till evening turns into a nutrition which is reached to every cell in our body. So morning 4 to 6 is the Vata time. 6 to 10, 2 to 6 is Vata time, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is Kapha time. That is where the body may feel sluggish if you don't exercise. So if you wake up after 6 a.m., which is after sunrise most of the times, Kapha time has started, and therefore the laziness also would start setting in our body and mind. And then 10 to 2 is Pitta time. So Pitta time, before the Pitta time ends, we should have had our heaviest meal of the day. Then again, 2 to 6 becomes the Vata time, which is a good time to have meetings, meet people, work on your projects, right? But 6 to 10 is a time to withdraw. It's a Kapha time. Kapha is Prithvi Tattva, Jala Tattva. So start grounding. This is a good time to meditate, to be reflective. And then night, again, 10 to 2, 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. is Pitta time. But this Pitta is different than the morning Pitta. The morning Pitta allows the Jatragni to digest food. Evening time, the 10 a.m. Pitta, it allows you to turn that digested food into nutrition and then reach it to every cell in our body. So this is the process. This is how we and the external environment are all connected, interconnected. And these are the processes which help us stay healthy, in the zone of health. Any deviation, and we realize, unfortunately, that most of the lifestyle today is very unnatural. What we call normal is not natural. So how do we create that shift from normal to natural? Everyone has to find out their own solutions, right? I mean, we cannot actually, give any customized timetable to everyone, right? That you do this, because according to your Prakriti, whether you are a Vata dominant, Pitta dominant, or a Kapha dominant person, again, you have to personalize your lifestyle, your diet. The same person in a different season will have to again relook and reinvent the lifestyle and the diet. And the 15 days between any two seasons, the 15 days, 7 days of this Ritu and 7 days of that Ritu, are most important to create this shift. So slowly we change and we adapt, allow our body to adapt to the next season. And if you map, we have 5 Navratris. I've done this mapping, and we have 5 Navratris in a year, right? Right now we are going through Sharadiya Navratri. But all the Navratris come most of the times at a Ritu Sandhi time.
Yes.
So the fasting in Navratri is not just spiritual. Of course, it is religious and spiritual. But fasting in Navratri helps the body to detox and for us to adapt to the next season.
Great. Thanks very much. I think the conclusion of our side of conversation with the reference of Navratri brings a kind of a pious divine closure. The forum is open for if there are any questions, comments. Very quickly, I will prefer the questions first, and if anybody has any questions, this is the time to put forth those questions.
Some questions are in chat box also.
Yeah, I see some lovely comments made by Anantji. And then Madhulika ji has just posted a question. So I'll I'll suggest all these are the beautiful comments, summarization being done by Anandji. I'll come to that as and when the time permits. I would like to take this question first. Madhulika ji has asked, how do I know my body is dominated by Vata, Pitta or Kapha? Any simple tips, which time in India is exactly called Brahma Muhurta? Madhulika,
There are
it's in
questionnaires. Yeah, of course, the best way is to go to a Vaidya and actually do your own Nadi Pariksha and get the learning. But today we all want shortcuts, right? But IIT Bombay has come up with this Satvastha project in which there will be the questionnaire available through. So AI will be able to help you identify your Prakriti and then help you with your guidance.
So,
So,
Madhulika ji, if you have a question, you can email to me, Ashish
right, exactly.
P75 at Gmail, and I'll share the link. It is based on the Ayurvedic text. You will get some idea about your
Exactly.
Prakriti, and then you can also. In fact, it is recommended to take the suggestions and the in-person consultation with the trained Vaidya as well.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Okay, the second question is, when relax before meditation, sometime I sleep, how to deal with it? I think Jayaraman ji, you have been the practitioner and the researcher. So when relax before meditation, sometime I sleep. So when to relax before, after meditation, when to meditate?
I'm trying to understand the question, but
Yeah,
okay. But still, as I
basically,
understand,
it's a question is about meditation and relaxation. Should I relax first and then meditate, do the
yeah,
meditation or other way around?
I understand that. So actually, yeah, people consider these days meditation itself is a relaxation. Actually, meditation is a serious activity. So it also needs to be. There are certain practices like yoga nidra, where there is an auto suggestion, and then people who find it difficult to avoid that restlessness, they go to that state of restful state of mind, which actually comes under pratyahar. Means when the mind is when the senses are very agitated, and because of that the mind is restless and they are unable to sleep, so then practices like yoga nidra are done, which should not be mistaken for meditation. So meditation, as per definition, is tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. We should hold on to one principle, one ideal, and then the flow of thoughts should be identical. If I am meditating upon Bhagavan, the goddess Durga, this is a Navaratri season. So first thought, second thought, third thought, fourth thought, all this should be Durga Mata only. So while there are many ways in which, so meditation is a serious activity. So meditation should not be mixed with relaxation. So those relaxing practices are kind of certain manaprashamana upaya, just to calm the mind. So they need not be dubbed as meditation. So that clarity is there. Okay, when we come to certain meditation or japa, etc., 108 times of japa or some other activity, when we do, unknowingly we go to sleep. How to kind of avoid this kind of sleep? Should we avoid sleep? Or yes, of course, the sleep is also a chitta vritti which should be overcome. Chitta vritti nirodha, when we speak, sleep is considered as a chitta vritti. Patanjali says that this has to be overcome. How to overcome that? We ensure that actually when we observe any japa or meditation practice, there is a purvanga. So there, for every activity, there is a purvanga, there is a pradhananga, and there is a uttaranga. How do you get into the practice? How you stay in the practice, and how you come out of the practice. So these are to be. That it is not that I just sit down, switch on some audio, and then get into meditation. It doesn't happen that way. The purvanga practices are there, where even in the Vedic tradition itself, they are incorporated. For example, in Sandhya Vandana, day-to-day Sandhya Vandana itself, before the day's Gayatri Japa is done, we have to do 10 pranayamas. So the 10 pranayamas will bring our mind to a state of that Rajas and Tamas, they will be managed to an extent. And then our activity of Japa will be meaningful. And so hence the right asana, pranayama, etc. are to be done as a purvanga. And then we have to get into the dhyana. Then slowly, gradually, progressively. the sleep disturbance in the japa or the dhyana can be overcome. So even after that, so it is a process. It's a process because it is not that suddenly I do one activity and then jump into meditation. No, there is a preparation. We get into it and then slowly we have to get. And after that also, you can see that at the end of japa also we do certain pranayamas. And then the mind is brought back to the realm, current realm, and then slowly we move out of and then we do the samarpana and then come out of it. So hence, if this Purvanga, Pradhananga, Uttaranga system is followed, meditation will not, we will, there will be a progressive reduction of disturbance of sleep in meditation. So when I say, then as I mentioned earlier, would like to reiterate, so those relaxation practices, of course, we can do those auto suggestion, etc. That's a different track. Thanks.
Thanks very much. And here we come to exactly at 12:30. We need to close this session. If Vikramji has any last comments or suggestions, you're most welcome. I'll request all these scholars and the students and people in the audience who have asked the question, you are welcome to send the email through which you have got the intimation about this event, and surely we'll be able to connect to the right person.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ashish ji. Thank you very much, Lieutenant General Neeraj Varshney ji, my dear friend Jayaraman ji from S-VYASA, and Honorable Mala ji. Thank you very much for being here today. Would like to also extend sincere thanks to IIT Mumbai, S-VYASA, Anaadi Foundation, and Indian Army too, that today we have such a panel of experts, and our own dear Ashish ji, who has done lots of amazing work in ancient wisdom. Ashish ji, if you can quickly talk about the online pedia about Sanatan Dharma that you host. Maybe in 1 minute, if you can talk about it, our audience can be benefited with that also.
So basically, we were kind of frustrated with the kind of presentation and representation of the Indian concepts being done in the Wikipedia about 8 years ago. And we thought that this is our Rishi Ring, that we present our ideas of this culture, this Sanatan Sanskriti, in the dharmic perspective. So we created the dharmawiki.org. You are most welcome to go through this, because you will be getting the specific concepts of the Indian culture of Sanatan Dharma with the proper scholarly rigor, proper references with elaboration in the wiki form. So you can use that, as well as you can also contribute if you have done some research or some study and you think that these are the useful concepts which can be incorporated in the Dharma Wiki, are most welcome as a user as well as the contributor. This is the Jnana Yagya. Wikipedia is successful only if many scholars in whatever field they are studying, if they contribute the IKS, identifying the concept, presenting it in the English, Hindi language, that will be available for the large number of users which visit this website. A lot of researchers rely this because it doesn't give the twist. So Wikipedia says that they follow neutral point of view. Dharma Wiki says that we follow dharmic point of view. So what is dharmic point of view? You can go through that as well. The Dharma Wiki are most welcome as an user and the contributors to that. Thanks very much, Vikanji, for
Thank you very much, Ashish, because that's an amazing contribution. Should be in notice of everybody. I'm writing a WhatsApp number in our chat group because lots of questions are still unanswered. I may request all of you to send your questions to this WhatsApp group. And once you'll send your question to this WhatsApp, we will forward these questions to our experts. And once we get the answers, we will forward you back. Every Sunday, India time, 4:30 to 6 PM IST, United Consciousness conducts live classes on Ramcharismanas and modern management, modern life. So all of you audience are most welcome to join those live classes also. And United Consciousness keep on doing such amazing discussions, discourses on various aspects of ancient wisdom. So stay tuned so that we can work together in times to come. So I just texted for everybody the mobile number where you can text your question. And once you text your question, you will get the answer back from our panelist. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. Thank you very much, Prabhakar ji, Mohit ji, Madhulika ji, Jain Saab, and all the honorable members. Thank you. Should we have a group photograph? If you can, whosoever can switch on the camera, we can have a group photograph before we. Namaste, Neeraj ji. So good to see you. Excellent. Mohit ji, namaste. Pallavi ji, namaste. Sunil ji, namaste. So happy to see everybody. Namaste, Sai ji. Perfect. I hope everybody
Thank you, Vikrant. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much,
Thank
Vikrant ji,
you
and the
for a very
United Consciousness.
nicely moderated session, Professor Ashish.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
Thank you.
A star that has risen from the soil of Rajasthan, known for its valor and service, United Global Peace Foundation. In a world where everyone is entangled in politics and religion, a star has emerged from the land of Rajasthan, which is steeped in sacrifice, valor, heroism, and culture. The star is United Global Peace Foundation, an institution that not only symbolizes secularism but also carries the message of the welfare and upliftment of all living beings, transcending caste, class, and boundaries. This foundation is not just limited to social service but also embraces noble objectives like environmental conservation, preservation of culture and heritage, upliftment of literature, arts, and cow protection. The foundation has become a center for preserving Rajasthan's heritage, maintaining social values, and inspiring and offering hope to society. The founder of this foundation, Shri Neeraj Singh Shekhawat, a son of Rajasthan's soil, is a prominent personality who needs no introduction. A man who has risen from humble beginnings, excelling in the fields of mining, tourism, and hospitality. Shri Neeraj Singh Royal is the CMD of the MRS Group, a businessman, a philanthropist, and one of the country's most popular benefactors. He has established this foundation as a mission. For years, Shri Neeraj Singh Royal has taken it upon himself to assist the poor, helpless, and underprivileged children and girls, helping them with education, marriages, and other essential needs. Through various organizations such as Rajput Vikas Parishad, the I Love Foundation, Navjan Foundation, and United Global Peace Foundation, he has been involved in significant social work. The foundation brings light to the lives of those in need, whose resources are limited. Whether it's providing education for poor children, organizing the marriages of destitute girls, or taking talented athletes to national and international platforms, the foundation stands for society at every step. An event was organized for the collective marriage of economically weak girls, with over 400 marriages taking place. Economic assistance of 1.05 crore rupees was provided to the families of the victims and the injured of the Bhungrao gas tragedy. Moreover, almost 1 lakh families are supported directly and indirectly through his businesses. Shri Neeraj Singh Royal has built air-conditioned hostels in district of Rajasthan, investing crores of rupees, and has provided financial support. In memory of his late mother, Srimati Rukman Gawar, he constructed a girls' hostel in Ajmer, where girls are not only receiving education but are also building their futures in a safe and well-equipped environment. Additionally, in memory of his father, Leet Shri Kalyan Singh Ji, he built a state-of-the-art hostel in Jodhpur, which is a unique blend of ancient Marwar-style architecture and modern amenities. It has become an ideal shelter mandir for girls who are living away from their families and are receiving education with determination and self-reliance. In Jaipur, 7,500 students have received free coaching, where 140 students selected for RAS. In his Dhun Life project, initiated on about 500 acres of land in Jabad village, Jaipur, Shri Meghraj Singh Royal has constructed underground water storage ponds with the capacity of millions of liters to conserve rainwater that would otherwise be wasted. This project has raised the water levels in wells across hundreds of nearby villages, benefiting millions of acres of agricultural land and can supply drinking water to around 5 million people in Jaipur city for 2 days. The Dhun Life project is a unique example in the field of environmental conservation with over 350,000 trees planted till date. Now, Shri Meghraj Singh Royal is working on a global level through his dream organization, United Global Peace Foundation, in areas such as women's empowerment, educational support, marriages for orphaned and extremely poor girls, encouraging talented athletes, supporting the next generation of martyrs' families, environmental protection, and preserving ancient knowledge, arts, culture, and heritage. You will be pleased to know that through this foundation, which has established on October 19, 2024, more than 1 crore rupees in financial assistance have been provided in just 3 months for outstanding initiatives such as cow conservation, the education support scheme for underprivileged children, the marriage scheme for destitute girls, and the encouragement of talented athletes. In strengthening this mission, the foundation's distinguished board members, Shri Shakti Singh Bandikoi, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar and Brigadier Jitendra Singh Shekhawat are contributing with their exceptional talent and dedication. Under the leadership of these 4 eminent personalities, the United Global Peace Foundation is making unique contributions in the fields of humanity, social service, and environmental preservation. Their vision and dedication serve as the foundation for taking the foundation to new heights. This is not just a foundation, but a movement. To offer your contribution to this great social revolution, become a part of the United Global Peace Foundation today and contribute just 1 rupee every day to this unique journey of social service. This foundation will not only build a lasting and bright future for the present generation, but also for the generations to come. Become a member today and take forward this mission with your invaluable contribution. Also, encourage your friends and family members to join this noble cause.